Hi everybody, it's Dante. What an exciting day. It is full moon time. In just a couple of hours, the full moon will be exact. We've been feeling this energy throughout the day, and it's building and will carry with us. So allow yourself to embrace the energies of this full moon, and we will dive into this moon in both the Western and the Vedic system, gaining some insight from both. And if you want to dive deeper into how this moon might impact your personal life, it's always important to look at how this falls in your own natal chart and how it aspects your own planets. So, if you want to do a little dive into that, I am available for readings, full readings, and half hour or 15-minute readings, even. So, let's take a look in to the chart, and I will, yeah, open it up now. Okay, so now you can see the Western chart here. We're having the moon manifest in the sign of Libra, which you can see down here. And Libra is connected with the planet Venus. It's connected with love, beauty. It's connected with business as well, exchange of energies. And so in the sign of Libra, because it's about Venus, we're very interested in love and relationships at this time, and themes connected to love, relationships, and the idea of self and other can surface. We also have to look to the status of Venus, because Venus is the lord of the sign Libra. And where is Venus? But it's in the other sign that it lords, called Taurus. And Taurus is a great place for Venus to be. It means Venus is working in its own element and its own energies are coming to the surface. However, we see Venus is conjoined the planet Uranus, and Uranus is making an aspect to the moon. It's making this green sort of line there called an inconjunction. And the inconjunction is sort of like when planets are in two signs that don't necessarily relate or line up to each other. There's a sort of tension between them. So it can create a sort of awkwardness or surprise between those relationships. And Uranus's energy is quite similar to that as well. When Uranus conjoins planets, it brings surprise, shock, sudden change and transformation, innovation, and evolution to the area of those planets. So Uranus will have to bring an upgrade, and it often does so very suddenly. And within the aspect of the moon, it's like our mind and our emotional body is getting this upgrade and is going through some sort of evolution or surprise that we have to integrate. And this is also affecting relationships, and it may even impact money, which is another aspect of the planet Venus. So, all of these things are good things to look out for at the time of this full moon, and be aware that some of these things may come into play. Now, what other aspects are happening is that we're getting Jupiter is in a line with several other dwarf planets over here. The most notable of these dwarf planets is Chiron. So first of all, Jupiter is bringing a positive aspect to this moon. Jupiter is allowing for the moon to be something that is very expansive, and it is allowing for growth and evolution to take place with this moon. Jupiter is the greatest benefic planet, and it allows for things to expand. It's a very philosophical planet and spiritual planet, so there can be this feeling of optimism that comes about with this moon. However, then there's the planet Chiron that's also connected in that area. And Chiron is the planet of the wounded healer. It's the planet of where we might be feeling vulnerability or sensitivity. Whenever Chiron gets involved, there's a feeling of perhaps not enough, a feeling of being exposed, a feeling of needing to get deeper in touch with our woundedness, our wounded nature, and bring some healing energy to those wounds. So there could be some of these past pains resurfacing around this moon. And with Jupiter there, it's actually a chance to heal those things. So, taking the elements together, there can be a sudden surprise Uranus that brings back to the surface the wounds that might not have been completely healed in order to transform them, in order to integrate them. Now, not far off from Jupiter, we have planets Eris and Vesta. And Eris is the rebellious goddess of discord who stands for justice and stands up against things that are unjust, whereas Vesta is the goddess of spiritual sacrifice and connecting to the deep desire for spirituality and purification in the heart. So, I don't consider dwarf planets that significant unless they're exactly connected, and we're seeing them about 8 degrees away. So that's a minor influence coming from these planets. Eris brings an air of rebelliousness into the picture, whereas Vesta's bringing this sort of feeling of dedication and needing to get to our deeper inner priorities. So some of that influence is still impacting this moon, just slightly. Who are the other planets that are involved? When we look back towards the status of Venus, there's some... Oh, don't do that. There's some influence from Saturn towards Venus, and there's some influence from Neptune towards Venus. Again, Venus is the ascendant ruler, the ruler of the moon in this chart, and also Pluto. So Venus is getting, all of these big outer transpersonal planets impacting it. So again, the influence of Saturn and Pluto, the lords of death, is a little bit weaker because they're not even in a directly the same sign that would be influencing Venus, but it's what you would consider a false aspect. So there's some of that energy. This feeling of transformation comes with both Pluto and Saturn. So there's something that has to be transformed here. And then when we look to Neptune, this is about spirituality, and it's about dissolving the veils, dissolving what isn't real. And Neptune can bring about illusion. It really makes us to question what is the difference between our dreams and realities. Neptune's always asking us to go deeper into our inner vision and what our spiritual heart is holding for us. And at the same time, we have to dissolve layers of projections when Neptune gets involved. So this is a positive influence of Neptune because it's a sextile. So that's suggesting that there is some expansion of our dreams. It's good to connect with our dreams and visions at this time because they support us in making a step forward in regards to whatever this surprise or shock that is coming around this moon might bring. So there's also the sort of sextile, or trine rather, between Saturn and Mars, and that is an energy that gives us a lot of focus. Saturn is discipline, Mars takes a lot of action. Mars has a lot of energy. So it's discipline, action in a positive direction. And they're both bringing the sextile aspect to Mercury and the north node of the moon, who are conjunct. So these are really strong influences to that Mercury planet. And North Node is connected with destiny. It's connected with where we are headed, but it comes with this deep craving or desire. It's a head without a mouth with a thirst that cannot be quenched. And so when that planet of desire comes to Mercury, who is about communication, we might have a lot of desire to communicate at this time. We might have a lot of desire to also create. Mercury is a very creative planet at this time. And so it's good to channel that energy creatively and bring it into something that can be very positive. As Mercury is a quick mover, Mercury isn't going to be with that north node of the moon for all that long. So some of that energy might bring about a very powerful means of growth. And then when we take in the aspects of Mars and of Saturn together, that is often a combination for death and letting go when we see Saturn and Mars together. So it can be this like creativity that's about liberating us, about shedding the past, about letting go of what isn't relevant anymore, and connecting that with our desire. What do we desire to release ourselves from? So there's also this other dwarf planet that's with the moon, Makemake, and this is a Hawaiian goddess, male goddess of fertility. And so that brings another creative energy into the moon. And again, I didn't mention it right away because with the dwarf planets, I like to see them to exact degrees to consider their conjunction, because I'm running a lot more about traditional astrology, and I'm making that more of the focus in a way. And the dwarf planets don't even exist in this traditional astrology. So I like to consider their influences a lot more subtle in nature. And while they do play a role, we want to consider the influence of the major planets before we get into that. Anyway, it's something to consider that there can be this theme of fertility that might come up with the moon. All right, now let's move on to the Vedic chart. The Vedic chart looks way different than the Western chart. And for those of you who haven't seen it before and are familiar with the Western chart, the top corner is the ascendant. And instead of symbols, we have numbers, 4 representing Cancer. So the numbers are here representing the signs. In Vedic, everything is 24 degrees behind Western, so we're looking at different signs. So what are we in? Is the moon is in Virgo. Virgo connected with Mercury. Virgo being that meticulous sign of organization and cleansing and communication. And in Vedic, we also have nakshatras. The moon moves through 27 lunar mansions from cycle to cycle. And these lunar mansions are the phases of the moon, right? And the moon takes the qualities of the nakshatra and brings them into the full moon or new moon. So this one is called Hasta Nakshatra. And Hasta Nakshatra is symbolized by a hand. And so it's the hand that's connected with healing modalities, but it's also the hand connected with creativity and expression. We use our hands to write, we use our hands to create. So there can be some of these creative qualities or healing qualities that come up with this moon. And this Hasta Nakshatra is known for its mischievous or tricky nature, and as well as a playful nature. Virgo is a Mercury-ruled sign. Mercury is a youthful planet that is very playful and creative. So these qualities are naturally coming through in Virgo as well. So whereas we see the qualities of the moon in the Western chart is bringing about maybe a focus on love, this is bringing about, again, that focus on creativity and playfulness and using that energy for some level of healing. How is the Lord of the moon doing? It is with Venus, and it is with, again, that Rahu, who is bringing about the strong desire and craving. It's also with Venus. Venus and Mercury together is considered a connection for maybe diving into the finer aspects of life and love for the pleasures of life. And they're both Rajas planets, meaning they have a lot of energy. So there's a lot of intense energy that's coming through. But then we have also the influence of some of the heavier planets. And Vedic, there's planetary influence called drishti or gaze. Planets look to different places. So Saturn does a 3-house gaze. So Saturn is also casting its gaze in onto this conglomeration of planets. And when there is a malefic gaze, the most beneficial planet will take the hit of that. In this case, it's Venus. And Venus is also at the 29 degrees. It's rounding up here, so it says 30. But at this last degree of the zodiac, it's in transition and its significations are weakened. So Venus is both taking an affliction of these planets, air planets, right? And it's taking the effect of being in transition. So at the time of this moon, Venus and its qualities might be under some stress. And this can be maybe impacting relationships. Again, we've seen in the Western chart already that influence of perhaps change in relationships because Venus is with Uranus, uncertainty in relationships. And this is also indicating, some level of change in relationships. And these air planets affecting Venus is air creates separation, air creates distance, air creates coldness. So some separation or coldness in relationships that challenge us to see, is this relationship really meant to last? And following this moon, there can be that space for coming back into closeness, because Venus is then going to move into its own sign of Taurus. So Venus is going to be in a much better disposition for some time, and that's going to be very helpful for the whole chart, for everybody, with Venus not taking an affliction and Venus not weak in that sign, moving into a sign where it has a lot more planetary strength. It will still be in a sort of sandwich between malefic planets then, so it's not completely free. However, it is nonetheless better. Anyway, back to the moon itself, where we went on a little tangent with Venus. That's okay. But Venus is anyway with Mercury, remember? So that energy is going to impact the moon in a Mercury-ruled sign. So it isn't totally unrelated. Jupiter is in its own sign, and that's looking towards the moon, impacting the moon. And that's creating a positive influence on this moon. That's allowing for growth to take place with this moon, and an open, optimistic place to carry through this moon. And again, healing and creativity are themes of this moon. So Jupiter's influence is even suggesting more expansion of that healing potential to come through with this moon. There is the aspect of Mars onto the moon as well. Mars looks 4 planets away, and because there's only one malefic influence, that's causing a sort of, positive effect. Multiple malefic planets creates an affliction or curse. One malefic creates a level of protection. So Mars is a great protector, and Mars is allowing this moon to bring about more inner qualities and a feeling of safety that might come with this moon. And in other astrological news, Jupiter is about to change signs in about 2 weeks, and Jupiter has been in its own sign of Pisces for almost a year, moves into Aries, and Jupiter is going to then be with Rahu. And Jupiter-Rahu connection can bring about a sort of rebelliousness and wildness, and it will be a very powerful influence on many, especially if you have planets in that sign of Aries. It will be a good thing if you have planets in the sign of Aries, as Rahu on its own in conjunction with Saturn has been causing a little bit of turmoil, and Jupiter will protect from that. But Jupiter leaves a blessing in whatever house that it moves into. Um, so as Jupiter leaves that sign of Pisces, see where Pisces in your chart is and notice what blessings have been influencing you in that area of life. And maybe take a moment to put more energy into that for these next 2 weeks, as Jupiter will still be leaving a lot of really good things for that house in your chart. To really take that energy in can be helpful. So that's everything for this moon. And I hope you enjoy it and make the most out of it. And if you're curious about diving deeper into your astrology chart, I'm available for readings. You can find out more information on dantestarshine.com, and there's a booking a session page there as well. I'll leave that also in the video comments or the description on YouTube. And I hope to chat with you soon. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you later.